Happy Thursday. Welcome to the Prime Real Estate Network podcast. I'm your host, Ric Davis. If you don't follow me on Instagram, I invite you to do so at Prime Real Estate Ric. If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in residential or commercial real estate anywhere in the great state of Texas, but especially here in our lovely city of Houston, please feel free to reach out to me directly on Instagram at Prime Real Estate Ric. I want to thank everyone in the audience for tuning in this week. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here with you this Thursday here in the noon hour. As you can see, we have a lovely guest co-host sitting in with us. You've seen her here on the Prime Real Estate Network before as not only a guest, but also one of our favorite guest co-hosts. You've known her from Facebook. You've seen her on Instagram. She's better known as the Mortgage Link Queen, but I would like to thank her for carving some time out of her Thursday schedule. And I would like to introduce Miss Tatiana Hall. How are you?
I am well. Thank you for having me. It is always a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. Oh, I almost forgot. The Queen of YRB.
YRD.
YRD? Oh,
yes. You know, we are affiliates of the National Association of Real Estate Brokers, 75-year-old organization. So the Young Realtors Division is what that is. Actually, you know what? Next week we are having a meet and greet, you guys. It's going to be at Perry Homes in Manville. Food will be served. Let's get out there. We're networking. We're getting it going. We just had an awesome meeting, making alliances and allegiances with some other big people. So we're moving and shaking in the city.
I want to thank you publicly because it seems as if I've had to reach out to you just about every quarter this year to come sit in with us and give us a market update from a lender's perspective. I'm sure a lot of the members of our audience that may be in the market for a new home to either buy or sell have been seeing online, seeing on the news, the talk about interest rates, what they're doing, fluctuations. So what can you share with our audience as far as the current market conditions, as far as lending, qualifications, and what it is that you're seeing from the home buying public?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So right now we are in a shift, right? We're shifting. But the real answer to that question is this, right? It's always still a good time to buy, number one, right? And where we are right now, you have to really just change your mind frame from what it was to what it truly is, right? And what it always has been. That brief little period of time when we were like rates. Listen, marry the house, date the rate. Your rate can always change. You can be in control of your rate, right? And right now we're all competing with each other. So, right, it's definitely a buyer's market when it comes to the lending side, right? Because we're all competing against each other. So that means, right, I'm gonna do what I need to do, and every other lender, they're gonna do what they need to do to make their rates competitive. That's to your advantage. So marry the house, date the rate, but right, be a ready buyer. So if you need specifics, right, make sure that we have y'all already know our savings together, right? Gotta have some money. You gotta have some money. So you got your savings together. And you know, for everything else, just give me a call, 832-318-4826, and we can walk through that process, because honestly it's individually based. But the rates, they're stabilizing, right? We're looking at the 5s, maybe 6s. Yeah, I got some clients though. I got them pre-approved. I actually got them locked in at under 5% though.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's out there. It's happening.
See, now thank you so much for sharing that information, because when I'm out and about at networking events or I'm out there speaking to prospective buyers, if you were to tell someone that it's still possible to get a rate in the 4s, sometimes that can seem like pie in the sky. But for someone as knowledgeable and experienced as you to still share that information with the public, I think there's a few people that thought they were going to have to stay on the sideline, who after hearing that news, they're reinvigorated to actually jump in there and get involved in the home buying process. So I thank you so much for sharing that info.
Of course.
Thank you so much. And as always, thank you so much for sitting in with us, because everyone online and in the chat and in the comment section always is so excited when the Mortgage Link Queen sits in with us. I was mentioning to you earlier that the conversation that we had during your last appearance about balancing family and business and growth is something that I feel like so many members of our audience had a chance to take so much from. So thank you so much again for sitting in with us.
Of course.
Everyone, this week I am very excited about the guest that we have. Ms. Hall just talked about the current market shifts. And if you are a new agent, if you're a less experienced agent, you may have be working through certain challenges now that you are being confronted with for the first time. And today's guest is so proud to share some of her experiences with us all. And the reason why it's so important for us to have guests like this fine lady on our show is because when you are in Houston, we try at the Prime Real Estate Network podcast expose you to true Houston top producers, those that have been able to sustain their brands, build their companies through the ups and the downs that can come with being an entrepreneur and a business owner. So I would like to, with no further ado, introduce this week's guest. She is not only a real estate rock star, she's not only a Houston top producer, she is one of the best and finest real estate brokers and entrepreneurs anywhere here in the greater Houston area. I want to thank her for carving some time out of her schedule, and I'd like to introduce to our audience, Miss Toyia Henderson. How are you doing?
I am great. Thank you guys for having me. I'm very pleased.
I first were introduced to you by Houston top producers, those networking events, being a part of their marketing and their magazine. So what would you give our audience as far as one of the things that has helped you to become one of Houston's top producers in the real estate industry?
The main thing is being a self-starter, okay? The drive has to come from within. No one can teach you that. No one can teach you how to get up in the morning and do what you're supposed to do, okay? So that's one thing that, I really thrive off of. Those days that I don't feel like getting up because it's raining outside and I want to lay in my bed or whatever the case may be, I have to pull that from within in order to be able to to get up and get started, letting that car warm up.
No, because, with all the awards and accolades that you've earned throughout your career in real estate, this isn't the first challenging time that you've had a chance to experience going through and building your business. So is there any advice for any new agents or any less experienced agents that are overcoming these obstacles for the first time, that for the first time ever they're dealing with quote unquote rising interest rates?
Right.
Is there any advice that you can give to them as far as maybe mindset, motivation, to just understand that this too shall pass and that it's more of an educational thing, it's more of experience than to look at it as a true challenge to your business?
Absolutely. So for me, I've been doing this quite some time, over half my life. I always have to say that because it makes me feel older, but I hope I look a little younger.
Oh, no, you look amazing,
Got
girl.
A birthday coming next week. I ain't gonna tell you how old I'm gonna be, but So anyway, I've been in the game since interest rates was 7%.
Right.
Okay, so that should tell you a lot.
Right.
And so I was there when you could sell 15 houses a month because they were doing the stated income and all of that. And when the market finally started crashing, I had to adjust with that. So some advice that I can give some of the agents is don't let that discourage you. You just have to move with the market and educate yourself, because there's nothing like someone that's just watching TV and listening to everything that everyone has to say. Just like anything, it depends on the group that you're in, right? So if you hang around a bunch of negative Nancys, then you're going to get a bunch of negative information.
True.
So if you sit there and you listen to everything that everyone says, then one thing that you'll never have is the truth. So you have to educate yourself in order to be able to educate the client. So when you're in a shifting market, educate yourself, know what's going on, know what the rates are, know how the rates are going up and down, know how you can help a client get their rate down. You just said something about closing someone at a interest rate that was below 5%, So then you can speak to a client and say, hey, I know a lender that just closed a client at, I'm just going to say 4.875%. How did they get there? What was it that took them to get there? So educate. I'm going to stop right there because I keep talking.
No, absolutely. I appreciate your transparency, because there's so many members of our audience that I'm sure is going to glean so many of those tidbits from your conversation that they're going to add to either their presentation or even just build them up from a confidence standpoint to make those cold calls.
Absolutely.
Because in times like this, we all know sometimes you got to just hammer out the phone. It's the kind of thing where you got to get your hands in the dirt and actually become a part of the community from that standpoint. Mm-hmm. So I want to ask you about your company, TCH.
Mm-hmm. Not THC.
Have you gotten people who ask you that question? Has it been confused from time to time?
So you part of the THC group? I just say,
It's funny because I never considered that, but I want to thank you for sharing, because you're not just a real estate broker, but you're also a business leader.
Okay.
And as a leader, you have to inspire and motivate. So when you're out networking, because you're very visible from that standpoint.
Okay.
When you're out and you're meeting new agents or those that have been newly licensed, what is it that you share with them about TCH Group? Why it's your passion, and why it's an organization of like-minded people that can help them grow professionally as well?
Okay, I hope because I'll get to talking. Stay focused, Toyia. What I would say is what I said before. You got to start from the inside. You got to let that engine warm up. So you got to motivate yourself. You got to educate yourself. So then the next thing is you have to be driven. You have to want to do it, because if you really want it, you'll be able to do it, okay? Don't let anyone sidetrack you, and don't compete with others, okay? We are all individuals, and we all shine in our own way, okay? So make sure you don't compete with other people, because when you look behind you, that's how you end up in last place. Yeah. You got to keep looking ahead, and you got to focus on what your target is and not what their target is, because whatever their target is, they're going to get there a different kind of way because they're a different individual, okay? So stay focused.
Absolutely.
Stay focused, and you can't get nowhere looking behind you. So look ahead.
Did you hear that passion?
Absolutely.
You hear it, and you can tell that that's definitely what propels you and make you stand out. Like, you hear the passion.
No, and one of the things, just to speak to that point, Ms. Hall, is that I think a lot of your clients would appreciate how passionate you are about what it is that you do professionally when they have an opportunity to actually meet you, interact, and do business with you and partner with you from that standpoint.
Yeah, and I don't mean to cut you off. I mean, and it works both ways, right? So when you have a client, if I feel like that client and I are not going to mesh well, I don't mind letting that money go. And I don't tell anybody to give up or let it go. But at the end of the day, if you really are passionate about what you do, and this is not a job for me. This is what I do. Okay, this is who I am.
Yes.
Okay, so it's not a job. I got to go sell real estate. So if I ever, and yesterday, true story, I had $1 million listing in my face. But the way the conversation was going with the lady, I straight up told her, I've been doing this for a very long time, and I love what I do. If you feel that you need someone in your zip code to list your land for you, I understand. And I let that go, and I did not look back. Because sometimes when people, when they're constantly pushing against you, because I'm telling her everything that I do and how, I've been all over Houston, inside and out. Huntsville listings. I have a listing coming up in Rose Sharon. I have a listing coming up in Manville. That's way on the outside, right? But I educate myself about those areas. And so I was explaining that to her, that it's no area that I don't know, because I've been doing it for so long and I've lived here my whole life. But she kept pushing against me, and I said, listen, I totally understand. I get it. I do this because I love it. And if you need me to refer anyone to you, I'll be happy to. But that comes from me loving what I do, loving who I am, and knowing what I offer. I was telling you earlier, I give my clients almost 100% of me, because I need that 5% for sanity.
Absolutely.
Okay. So doing that, I don't know.
Do you believe, and this is something I've always been so curious, and one of the great things that Larry and I have been able to build by having this platform is to be able to share ideas with some of the most successful business people. What is it that you think is your differing aspect of your business that your clients truly appreciate? Do you think it's your passion? Do you think it's your transparency? What is it that you think after closing your clients can take as far as, this is why I'm glad I worked with Miss Henderson.
Or, add to that question, what makes them say, let me refer?
Right? Absolutely.
Let me send a referral this way, because that's what real love is.
That's right.
So I'll just tell you what my last client just did. She was like, Toyia, I thank you for always being there, always answering my calls. I thank you for being just open about things. Because if it's something that I see, something that I don't agree with, I'm sorry, I don't know how to be. Being fake take a lot of energy. You know that?
Yes.
Okay, it does. It takes a lot of energy. And you can walk in a room and you be like, you know what? I ran out of energy. I can't be fake no more. Let me leave. Okay. So for me, I just try to be transparent with my clients. I try to be open, honest. And that's part of that giving almost 100% of myself to them, so that at the end of the day, I almost feel like family if I don't feel like family to them. Okay? That's what make people want to refer. They feel secure with you. They feel like you've given them everything. They feel like they can trust you. I mean, purchasing a home or selling a home, that whole transaction is one of the biggest decisions you're going to make in your life. Okay? I know I probably said this before, so if somebody that knows me is listening, I love this analogy because it is so true. 1, finding a spouse, having a baby, purchasing a home. Car is in last place because it loses value once it leaves the lot. So you can go buy a car, take it back, whatever. But those 3 things, okay? Finding a spouse, having a baby, purchasing a home. Those are things that are long-term. Those are not 5-year financing. I mean, and if I don't like it, I'm going to leave type situations.
Right.
So being a part of that is important. And if I say one more time, I'm going to scream.
No, I appreciate you so much because sometimes I think, and Ms. Hall, she's heard me mention this before because she's a guest, and I want to thank you again for sitting in. But I think as business people, when we meet clients and we're on listing presentations or we're talking about partnering with new title companies, they meet you the day they meet you.
Right.
And sometimes they can undervalue the evolutionary process, the steps that were taken so that Ms. Toyia could present herself and her company the way that she presents it at the day you meet people. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, I'm hoping you would share with our audience a little bit about your background, that evolutionary process, and hopefully people who know you or have done business with you can learn something new about you today that they didn't previously know. So thank you so much for being so transparent and candid with our audience.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Everyone, I want to thank you for tuning into the Prime Real Estate Network podcast. We're going to take a short break to hear from our sponsors, but we'll be right back.
I'm serial entrepreneur Larry W. Brooks, and I'd like to personally invite you to take a closer look at the Pure Hustle clothing brand, along with several books that I've authored to take entrepreneurs, small business owners to the next level of their business. So please take a look at shoplwb.com. How do you survive?
3 years ago, I set out on a mission to create the blueprint for how we could go into our own neighborhoods, buy blocks, renovate them, and combat the negative effects of gentrification. Today, that vision is reality. Our project is located in the heart of the historic Lyons Avenue Business District in 5th Ward of Houston. Lyons Avenue was once a thriving black business district with businesses and commerce. However, after desegregation, that all changed. Now, we are recreating that legacy. These buildings are 100 years old. We just gave them a new life. This house was built in 1925 and was vacant for years. It's now a podcast studio and is rented out as an event space for everything from engagement parties to TV commercials, music videos. City Council even had meetings here. We've had birthday parties. We've had baby showers. And the $5,000 to $10,000 a month generated in this building.
This is Prime Real Estate Rick, and I'm here to present to you this week's Prime Real Estate Network Home Buyer Insider. This beautiful 4-bedroom, 2 and 1.5 bath home is located in the highly sought after Hanover Forest community in North Harris County. This beautiful property can be you and your family's private sanctuary from all the hustle and bustle of big city living. Reach out to the Texas Real Estate King, Mr. Larry W. Brooks, or myself, Mr. Prime Real Estate Ric Davis, to schedule you and your family's private showing today. Welcome back to the Prime Real Estate Network podcast. I'm your host, Ric Davis. My special co-host is the Mortgage Link Queen, Ms. Tatiana Hall. Thank you so much for sitting in.
You're welcome. No, seriously, thank you.
Nah, it's all good. Hey, look, if you missed our first segment of today's podcast, I don't know what was going on. Make sure you tap in this Sunday at 6 p.m. Central, because this is when we will be debuting today's episode, because today's guest dropped so many gems in our first interview segment that you would be a rich man if you just picked them all up. I want to thank her for sitting in this week. She is not only a real estate rock star, she's one of Houston's top producers and one of the finest, most successful real estate brokers that we know here in the greater Houston area. I want to thank you for sitting in with us today, Miss Toyia Henderson. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
See, now, in the first part of the interview, we did all the heavy lifting.
Okay.
We talked about markets. We talked about interest rate. We talked about motivation. We talked about why you should get off the sideline and get into the game. But right now, I just want to ask, and this is something that I'm not sure all of your clients or business partners might be aware of, but could you just share with our audience a little bit about what you did professionally before you got into real estate, before you became a business owner, and before you decided to go down this road of entrepreneurship?
Well, back when I was a little girl, that's true story. When I was a little girl, I used to play businesswoman.
Oh, wow.
I did.
Okay.
I used to get the books and act like I was selling the books, and people were coming to my store. So that's a true story. But anyway, in my adult career, I actually managed my sister's insurance office. She's been in business for over 30 years. And I was going University of Houston and working at an insurance office. I'd go to school in the morning, leave school, go to work, leave work, go back to school at night. Okay, that's what I did. So I managed her office, and then eventually she ended up selling me one of her locations. So I owned, and a lot of my clients don't know that. I owned an insurance office for a small amount of time because I was transitioning. But anyway, from there I was offered a job by a local builder, JMC Homes.
Okay.
Okay. I went there. I was buying my first home. The guy was he was like amazed that I was 19 years old and trying to buy a new construction home. And I'm like, yeah, that's the house I want. And he offered me a job.
Wow.
He said, you know what? I want you to show up on, I'm just going to call it Monday because I don't know what day it was. And just bring your driver's license. I'm going to have you fill out some paperwork. If you love to work for us, then we'd love to have you. And that's actually how I ended up in real estate. I was offered a job trying to buy a home.
So did you buy the home?
I ended up not getting that one.
Okay.
No, I ended up not getting that one. It was some things about it, but they were okay with that. Okay.
Because they get in.
They were. It was the opportunity.
But wait, though, see, that's just such a natural segue because it's almost like I'm taken aback because every week here on the podcast, Larry and myself ask every business owner who sits in the chair that you're sitting in, was there a member of their family that might have been that beacon?
Yeah.
Might have been that lighthouse that you followed or that motivated you. And you shared so much about your sister and the insurance business. Is that something that is trickled down throughout the family? Was there any other members before your sister?
My dad.
So, okay, this is entrepreneurship is a family thing. So please give us a little bit about your father, what he did and how that motivated you.
So my dad, he worked for the city, back in the 80s. And he retired, and when he retired, he was a worker, so he didn't want to just retire and not do anything. And my family's from Louisiana.
Okay.
So my dad made and sold boudin and sausage and hog crackling and tasso and anything dealing with Creole and Cajun. He was actually he actually talked to one of the local stores about putting it in the stores and everything. So yeah, started with him, and then my sister, she owned her own insurance agent. Well, she still does. It's still making tons of money. But yeah, that's what it is. I mean, that's.
No, it's amazing because with you starting in real estate at 19 years old, there's so many teenagers that are.
I'm only 25.
that are college students currently in real estate school. And I hope this serves as an example of there's no such thing as too early.
Oh, no.
Isn't it amazing, Ms. Hall? I'm sure when you talk to people about getting qualified for home loans, they always say, well, Tati, I want to just wait a little bit. Do you think it's too soon? Am I too young? Let this serve as a shining example.
Absolutely.
Of as soon as you walk across that stage in high school, as soon as you turn 18, you can get after it out here.
My kids, they already know. Both of my girls.
There you go.
You know, when they graduate, I was telling you earlier that they're going to graduate with their associate's degree and then go off to college. Well, that summer, they're going to real estate school because they'll already have college credits.
Absolutely.
So I'm sending them to real estate school, and they're going to get their real estate license, and they're going to take that on to college and tell all their friends that when they get ready to get an apartment or they're looking for somewhere to stay, let them know Mama's going to be here to help, and we're going to make that side change.
No, absolutely, because
So
I'm sure there's going to be people who hear this interview that have been loosely thinking about signing up for real estate classes, who are going to probably be motivated to be like, well, if she can do it at 19, I can do it at 29.
absolutely.
So please share with our audience your contact info, how those that are interested in learning more about your brokerage
Okay.
can learn about how they could get under the tutelage of Ms. Toyia Henderson. And for those who are looking to buy, sell, or invest, how can they tap in with you and stay abreast of what's going on at TCH?
Okay, you can reach me at 281-995-5461. Again, that's 281-995-5461. It's Michelle, always answer it. I got a bat line, but once you call me on the main line, I give you that bat line. And then Instagram, Toyia the Realtor. That's my Instagram page. Toyia Henderson is my Facebook. I'm hardly ever on Facebook, so hit me on IG. And then a website, www.thetchgroup.com.
Appreciate it, man. It's been an honor and a pleasure to interview you, have you sit in. I mean, Larry gonna just be sick when he see how this episode
Larry
turned
over
out.
there doing something he probably ain't got no business, huh?
Hey, man, he holding it down, planting flags.
No, I'm just
He waving that Prime Real Estate
On the
Network
beach.
flag all over, man. So big shout out to Texas Real Estate King. We'll see you here next Thursday, which brings me to my lovely guest co-host, Ms. Tatiana Hall. Ma'am, for those in the audience who've seen you now with your third appearance here on the pod with us,
Is it just 3?
just 3. Hey, look, I reserve the right to reach out to you again at the beginning of the fourth quarter. Let me stop.
Let's do it.
No, because you've been such a profound knowledge base for not only myself, but members of our audience this whole 2022. So is there anything that's going on in the world of the Mortgage Link Queen? How can anyone in our audience meet, greet, and interact with you in the flesh if possible? Or what is that you got going on with YRD coming up here in the near future?
Yeah, so again, we have our YRD meet and greet next week. Next week at in Pomona. So
Yes.
yep. So we'll be out in Pomona, but you can follow me on Instagram at Mortgage Link Queen. You can follow me on Facebook, Mortgage Link Queen as well, or go to www.mortgagelinkqueen.com for all of my contact details. And if you want specific information, give me a call. And listen, I am always looking for lending and referral partners. So listen, if you have something special, or if there's something special that I can do, I wake up every day to see how can I serve, and I'm looking to serve as many people as possible.
Absolutely. I want to thank you so much, because anytime you can bless us with your presence, the energy and the aura on those episodes always go through the roof. So thank you so much.
My pleasure.
And this is for everyone who's reached out to me either directly on Instagram or in the inbox on Facebook. Look, if you are an aspiring real estate professional, if you're currently studying towards your real estate license and you want to learn about what we have going on here at the Prime Real Estate Network, or you want to get involved with Brooks & Davis Real Estate Firm, please visit our website at brooksanddavis.com. You can schedule a consultation with myself, the Texas Real Estate King, Mr. Larry W. Brooks, or CEO Coach Michael G. Davis, and we would all be glad to let you know about what's going on a regular basis over at Brooks & Davis Real Estate Firm, because at Brooks & Davis, we have a real estate family, and we would love for you all to get involved. So, thank you so much.
Thank
to
you.
the Mortgage Link Queen. Man, it's great having you sitting in, man. Please take advantage of all the great information that we've had a chance to share with you today. Please reach out to Miss Toyia Henderson. She is a great lady. She has profound advice. And if you are looking for real estate direction, real estate motivation, follow her on Instagram, please. So until next Thursday in the noon hour, everyone out there in the audience, please be safe and be blessed.